So the purpose of your newsletter, it is not to promote, well, it is to promote your business, but the purpose of it is really not to just be pushing out your products and services, but it is to help build relationships with people. So you think about new people that come into your environment, they're looking to find out a bit more about who you are, what your values are, who you help, things that are of value to them, problems that you can help them to solve, insights that you've got. And so really to drive that engagement with people. So, and it should be something that if people open your newsletter, and I say if people open your newsletter, they're not always going to do that. And it doesn't really matter if they don't. This is the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast for entrepreneurs and business owners looking for cool online tools, apps and strategies to make business easy online. My name is Nick Cree and I'm your host. Each episode features a guest expert demystifying the online universe, sharing inspirational ideas and providing tested real-world strategies to help you get the most of what's available online to grow your business today. Don't be a slave to your business, get your business working for you. Subscribe now and get some great content and ideas for you and your business today. Which now brings us to the main feature for tonight, and it's all about newsletters. So newsletters, you've probably seen it. Who here, just out of a show of hands, or actually just drop into chat, if you have a subscribe to my newsletter on your website, just drop S into the chat just to let me know you have a subscribe to newsletter on your website or somewhere around where people can do it. All right, we have a yes, we have an S, we have an S video one too. Excellent, fabulous. All right, so often the traditional way is in newsletters, so in your website to get people to subscribe to it. These days, unless you've got something that's really quite niche that people are interested in subscribing to, it's helpful to think of some creative ways to have people subscribe. And just simply having on your website, subscribe to my newsletter is often not compelling enough for people to subscribe. So sometimes the easiest ways is to think about what is it that people want? What are the things of value that you're offering people? And who can I pick on tonight? I might pick on Tim, who's breathwork in bed. He's got an easy one there in the sense that how many people here have ever had trouble sleeping at night or falling asleep? Anyone ever been in that situation before? Just give us a hands up. So Tim has a solution there to help you to fall asleep easily, quickly, regularly, and on a consistent basis, lower your stress and all that end of things. So if anyone's not sleeping, then having on your website, rather than having subscribed to my newsletter, having something that says, if you're having trouble sleeping at night, here are 5 things you can do before you go to bed that will help you to fall asleep within 2 to 5 minutes. So that way there, anyone's got a problem, that's an easy win for them to download. Then when you send out the email to deliver them that document, video, PDF, whatever it happens to be, you can also let them know that you have added them to your regular newsletter, which is coming out, and they can unsubscribe at any time if they wish as well too. All right, so newsletters. Who here's got a newsletter currently that they're sending out? Just drop an N into chat if you have a newsletter that's going out. I know one person that does. That'd be Gail, because she told us at the beginning. Tabitha, yeah, kind of. Yep. What do you mean, kind of?
As in, I used to, and then I stopped doing it. And so I need to pick it back up again.
Aha. Fabulous. Anyone else used to have a newsletter and not doing it anymore? Just give us a show of hands. Yep. Actually, I know Jane's got a newsletter. Well, you've sort of got a newsletter thing, haven't you?
I've got a newsletter subscription on LinkedIn.
Yes, LinkedIn. Yeah. And is yours an email newsletter as well, or just the LinkedIn one?
No, I put it on LinkedIn, but then I take that, I post it as a blog post as well, and then use that as a link in an email out to our database. just as a,
Good.
a topic that people might like to read.
That's right. Yes, you do too. All right. Excellent. Thank you. Nerrick, yes, I do want to start a newsletter. All right, you're in the right room today because we're going to be talking about starting newsletters. Actually, can I ask you, for those that have thought about a newsletter or those that have maybe had a newsletter in the past, what has stopped you, blocked you, or prevented you from either carrying on or from starting? Just give us some comments about what it is. So time, time and content. And resources to send out with it. Okay. Energy. Perfect. Excellent. Those there are all the common reasons why people don't either start or continue with a newsletter. And I think the stats are something like in the order of 80-something%. I don't know the statistic exactly of newsletters that are started, never get past the second issue for those very reasons. All right, started a new business. Fabulous, excellent. So good time to really start a newsletter. All right, well, let me just share my screen, and I sort of want to show off this tool that I'm using as well too. This one here. Okay. All right, so there's the presentation. Think newsletters don't work anymore. Think again. So this slide deck that I've created was created in about 3 minutes with Gamma. So if you haven't used the gamma.app app, it will create your slides for you. I just jotted out the bullet points for the slides and you want to talk about, and I sort of ran out of time to do it. It would have taken me probably couple of hours to really go through and create these slides. Anyone knows sort of creating PowerPoint slides know how long it sometimes takes. This Gamma, it did it in sort of really 2 or 3 minutes by the time I mucked around with it as well too. So if you want to explore that app, this is a free tool, by the way, too. So you get 10 pages for free, and you can add additional pages to it. But if you want generated pages of any more than that, then you've got to subscribe to it. So this is just on the free one. It generates and creates images, and it also does the text as well too. All right. Newsletter, what is it? Traditionally, it's a written document that you send out regularly and consistently to your audience. So really the keywords in there are regular and consistent. And often that's where people fall down because of things like time or energy, or they run out of ideas for it as well too. I'll tell you one of the ways to ensure that you are consistent and regular. Start charging for your newsletter, and then you've got a reason there to actually have to deliver it. I published a newsletter for over a year, which we were charging for. So I think we were charging, wasn't a lot of money, it was $200 a year. I knew that I had to get this newsletter out every month, and it used to take me 2 days to write this newsletter, and it was a hard copy newsletter that we used to mail out when I had a publishing company. So yes, if you want to publish regularly, charge for it. That'll really help your motivation for it. But otherwise, it really is about setting the time aside and getting it done. Time is a big thing. Who here's got 2 hours to spend putting together a newsletter every month? Anyone? Yep. So I certainly don't anymore. Tabitha, you do? Yep. But if you don't have that 2 hours, that's often a block. Tonight, I'll be able to show you some ways there to do it in 20 minutes. If you can do it in under an hour, then it becomes a very achievable task. So the purpose of your newsletter, it is not to promote, well, it is to promote your business, but the purpose of it is really not to just be pushing out your products and services, but it is to help build relationships with people. So you think about new people that come into your environment. They're looking to find out a bit more about who you are, what your values are, who you help, things that are of value to them, problems that you can help them to solve, insights that you've got. And so really to drive that engagement with people. So, and it should be something that if people open your newsletter, and I say if people open your newsletter, they're not always going to do that. And it doesn't really matter if they don't. But if they open it, they enjoy reading it as well too. So here's a little tip. If you find it boring reading your own newsletter, then your clients are going to find it twice as boring doing it. So make sure that it is interesting and also interesting to them. So sometimes things that are interesting to us are not interesting to, to people that are reading it, particularly if you are in a world there where you have a language of your own and your clients don't share that same language. So a good example for that is in the medical field. Doctors and homeopaths and people in that world there have a language of their own. And if they start speaking that language to ordinary people, then they tune out very quickly, and so they don't really understand what they're talking about. So being able to temper your language and concepts to who's reading it is one of the fundamental principles of a newsletter. So doctors there, they might want to think about how they communicate in a way that the general public would understand, and really dealing with the issues and insights and problems that they've got. So your purpose of it is really about building relationships. It's also about cementing your authority and credibility in the marketplace as well. So if you think about who else does what you do. So if, are there other people that are doing the same? So I'm looking at Con at the moment. Con is a LinkedIn expert. How many LinkedIn experts are there out there, Con? Another million. So lots and lots and lots of them out there. What is it that positions you apart from other LinkedIn experts? I know that LinkedIn experts, they all run workshops on how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. They all probably do some of the same sorts of things as well, although everyone has their own variations on how to do it. But how many, it's probably the wrong example actually, I was thinking how many LinkedIn experts have a newsletter? Anyone that's worth their salt in LinkedIn will have a newsletter, because LinkedIn has a newsletter functionality on LinkedIn. So I would take that a little bit further. If you are on LinkedIn and you're a LinkedIn expert, what other platforms are you publishing a newsletter on that sets you apart from those other LinkedIn experts? And there's lots and lots of platforms out there. So the easiest one is thinking about your email. So email newsletters are the simplest, easiest things that we probably know as being a newsletter. But don't forget a physical newsletter too. How many printed newsletters do you receive each month or even each year? So if you actually print it and send it, how different are you to others in your marketplace? So imagine it's a LinkedIn specialist who sends out, even if it's a one-page double-sided newsletter by mail, how much do you think that helps them to stand out in the marketplace? So when you're thinking about delivery and format, so we're talking about format, think about, so what is it that's going to distinguish you from everybody else in your industry? Looking at Donna there, you're HR, right?
Correct.
Yep. So if you think about sort of how many HR consultants are there out in the marketplace, there are lots and lots and lots and lots of them. How many people on corporate? Lots of them as well too. How do you sort of distinguish yourself with a newsletter in that space there? And is it physical? Is it a digital newsletter? Is it email? Is it on LinkedIn? So there's lots of ways that you can think about in terms of format. So you want to make sure that you are unique, doing something that's unique that no one else is doing, or very few people are doing in the marketplace. So format, think about format, and you don't have to have one format. We're going to talk about how you can repurpose from one format to another. So for instance, I think Jane mentioned it here, if you've got a LinkedIn newsletter, for instance, then you can send that same newsletter as an email newsletter to your email database. And your email database are going to be different to your LinkedIn database. There will be some crossover, but you will reach other people, and you'll reach people that say maybe by email, maybe they don't read your LinkedIn newsletter, or they don't get to it. So you've got another medium. There are other places out there as well too. If you think of Substack, anyone heard of Substack? Yeah. So Substack is a newsletter platform with a difference as well too. The others that are like Substack are like Beehive is another one, Medium is another one. So they're three sites that are dedicated newsletter sites. And so that's another medium where you can pick up another audience. So they're almost like a social media newsletter like LinkedIn, because when you look at Substack, Substack has a audience of hundreds of thousands of people on their platform. They will promote your newsletter. So if you publish a newsletter on that platform, then certainly when you're new on the platform or the newsletter is new, they will then publish it out they'll recommend it to other people as they come and join the platform. So let me just bring up Substack just for those of you who are not familiar with it, so you can see what it is. Let me just sign into it, and this will give you a look on the inside. I think it was this one. Okay, it's going to send me an email to verify my login. There we go. If you're wanting a newsletter, it really is good for lead generation. Substack is a really good platform for that. Okay, let me just, I've logged in with another email. Let's try another one.
Hey, Nick, do you have the paid version? Do you have the paid version, or are you on the free plan still?
No, I'm on the free plan with this one. So there's a heap in there, but the paid version obviously gives you some other benefits as well too. Are you on the paid version, Con, are you?
No, I've been thinking about it because apparently you get more traction, but I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not.
You do. Yeah.
You do.
Well, there's a couple of things. You got the paid version, but you can also, if you're charging for your newsletters, that's when you get the value for it. So Substack's a platform where you can publish a newsletter for free, and you can gather subscribers for that. It's also a platform where you can charge for your newsletters, and there are people there charging sort of like nominal amounts, like $5 a month for their newsletters. So it's like $60 a year. So not a lot of money, but there are publishers on this platform that are making six figures from their newsletter. Now they do spend a lot of time publishing quite extensive newsletters on there, but that's where this platform can go, is from free through to, it can be your full-time business as well too. So if we have a look inside it, you've got the button here, which is Start Publishing. And this is where you can get in there and you can create your own newsletter. But the other place is you've got, if you hit the Explore button, just to give you an idea, there are a heap of publications that you can subscribe to. So hopefully I can show you how you get some of the recommendations recommended to you when you're on the platform, which means other people get it recommended as well. Okay, so up the top here, there are lots and lots of topics. So let's say technology, business are topics that I'm interested in. Now you've got a whole lot of newsletters that are in this category. So you can publish and decide the category that you want to publish in. And there is also a Facebook-like wall on this as well, or a LinkedIn-like wall, where people can comment and have conversations with each other on here. So it's not just a static newsletter. They can create discussions in this as well too. So if you've got a sort of fairly niche area that you deal in, well, it doesn't have to be terribly niche. You can have the area that you deal in, then you can develop a whole audience of people on Substack, and then you can actually pull them off some Substack too into your CRM. Let me just try and find a newsletter. Where are we? This is just the conversation. So here's one chap here, Derek Thompson. He published a newsletter. See this yellow subscribe button? We can go and subscribe to that. His newsletter is about abundance and other ideas to make the world a better place. So you can subscribe to that. So I'll subscribe to that now. It's wanting to sign in as this email. All right. Okay. So you can see up here, it says, how much do you want to pay? $13 a month, $125 a year. Super fan tier, $760 a year, or you want the free version. So you can sign up for the free version. You can get a taste. So you can do this for your clients that you're wanting to attract. You can have a free newsletter, and then you can And then you can have an extended newsletter for those that are paying the subscription to you. So you might have enough there to really entice them in that they want to read more, and then they'll subscribe to pay for your newsletter. So you can see here, now that I've subscribed to that newsletter, it's given me recommendations of 3 other newsletters that I might be interested in. So if you've published a newsletter on here, or you've joined this, and if people follow someone else's newsletter that has in a similar marketplace to you, or similar sorts of people that will be interested in it, then you can start to get recommended in this area as well too. And to Con's comment there about being on the paid platform, if you pay for it, then you're more likely to get these recommendations here. But it's not only if you pay, that just gives a higher likelihood for it. So I can decide to sort of subscribe to it, and also people can follow you as well too. So not only can they subscribe to your newsletter, they can follow you, so that if you do publish a newsletter in the future, then they'll get notified when you publish it. Or if you publish more than one, you might publish 2 newsletters on 2 topics related to your industry. Then people get notifications if they're following you that that you've published a new one. So let's just skip that for the moment. Spread the word. So that's got a share function on as well. So if people like what you're doing, they can share it as well. I won't do that now. And then we're back to his publication. And so you can curate the content that you want to, that you're interested in on the platform, but other people can curate content as well too. So that if you are publishing a newsletter on this platform that's very similar to the sorts of things that people are interested in, so let's say it's homeopathics, for instance, or natural health, then you'll find that people are interested in natural health will subscribe to a number of newsletters in that vein of natural health. Or if you're a book publishing or book editing, they'll subscribe to a number of publications in here. So yes, you're in a marketplace with a lot of other potential competitors, but it's also, you're cross-pollinating ideas, and you're capturing an audience of people that are interested in what you're doing. So in this platform, you can put links in this platform. So if you have let's say a lead magnet, a white paper, a video series, a course, a program, you can put these into your newsletter as well too. So if people want to go deeper into it, and this is how you get people off the platform and into your CRM or into your world, is if they click the link to go and download, let's say you've got a framework as a PDF document, which you have resting on your website. They click the link here, they go to your website, they put in their email address and their name, and they download your framework document. So these sort of newsletters are really good for helping you to generate leads and new prospects that you might not have come across otherwise. Very targeted. So unlike social media, these are very targeted as well. So people will be following topics that are of their interest, because they select the topics that they're interested in at the top, and there's hundreds of topics in there. So now you're starting to talk to an audience of people that are interested in what you do because they've self-selected themselves, and so all you need to do is to be relevant to what it is that they are interested in finding out more about. Does that make sense? So great platform for helping you to build a following with a newsletter. So that's Substack. There's the other one out there, which is Beehive. There's Medium as well. This is the one that I prefer. All right, let's head back to, where were we? This one, okay. Okay, so let's think about format. So I think social media, which is LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn's the only one with a newsletter. You've got these newsletter platforms. You've got your website, so your email newsletter, and also think about your blog as well. So if you're writing a newsletter, then publish it as a blog post as well, because then it's going to get picked up by the search engines. And being picked up by the search engines is when people are searching for the topic that's in your newsletter. If you just send out a newsletter, they won't find it in the search engines. They may do on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is that is searchable on Google. But if you send it out by email, they won't find it. They won't necessarily find it on some of these newsletter platforms. So publish it as a blog post as well. Doesn't matter, you're publishing exactly the same content. They are for different purposes, for things like search engines, to pick up your social media following, to pick up your Substack subscribers, and then to send through to your email database. So you're really covering all options, but you only need to write the newsletter once and then publish it across a range of places. All right, well, here's the reason why you would publish a newsletter. Now, here's the interesting thing about it too. People don't have to read your newsletter for it to actually work. Bizarre as it sounds, they don't have to read it. And I'll tell you why that is the case in a minute. First thing is top of mind. If you're sending newsletters out by email, you end up in their email inbox. So and the thing that people look at is your name and the subject line. So if your name is appearing in their inbox, let's say I got a weekly newsletter, it's popping in there every week, means that you are, you're in their mind every week. It establishes you as a thought leader. So again, this is what separates you from other people in your industry, is if you're able to create some sort of authority and credibility about what it is that you do and what you speak on, then a newsletter is a great way to do that, particularly if not many other people are publishing in your sector, your industry, or in the area that you're in as well. So it really does position you as an expert. So there's something about being on stage. If you're on stage, speaking on stage, people instantly think you're an authority, because you wouldn't be on stage if you didn't know what you were talking about. Someone has entrusted you to get on stage to speak to their audience. Same with publishing a written word, like a newsletter. If you are publishing, that sets you apart from someone who doesn't publish. You're seen as an expert just for putting text, I was going to say text to paper, but it can be text to screen. And if you can do things that are, don't be afraid to be controversial in it as well. So think about some topics that are out there that are current topics and you have an opinion on it. So don't be afraid to express your opinion, because what will happen with that, some people will be for you, other people will be against you. You're looking for all of those people that are wanting to gravitate to you. So the stronger your position, the more likely you are to have people gravitate to you. The flip side of that is the more likely you've got that people are going to vehemently disagree with you. Don't worry about the fact they disagree with you, because you're establishing a whole lot of supporters. The other really good reason to have a newsletter is it allows you to establish some strategic partners with organizations and businesses that don't compete with you, that work with the same clients that you do. So the way that can work is, let's say, for instance, let's see who we've got here. Fred. So Fred's in the digital marketing space, or the more marketing ideas space. There are some things that Fred doesn't do, and I can pretty much guarantee you that Fred does not give financial advice because he's not a financial planner. But the clients that he deals with will be the same clients that the financial planners will be dealing with. So he can have a column in his newsletter about, from a financial planner, for instance, that relates to the clients in his business. So now he's developed a collaborative relationship with a strategic partner. Now that person that is writing a guest column in his newsletter gets access to his audience that they might not have had access to easily. Conversely, I would look at partnerships where if I've got someone publishing in my newsletter, if they've got a newsletter that you can publish a guest column in, now you get access to their audience. Does that make sense? So you can publish to your ideal prospects there, that someone else has already developed a relationship of trust with. They're already their clients or already their prospects, and so you don't have to build that what we call it authority or credibility with it. You're actually borrowing their credibility because they're bringing you to their audience. So it's a bit like being a guest on someone else's podcast. So think about newsletters. Think about who can you collaborate with for your newsletter content. So it's really good for developing those referral and strategic partnerships. And then the other thing which I touched on before too is that it has enormous SEO benefits, search engine benefits, particularly if you are publishing your newsletter as a blog post. So that's the most important thing for being found. So just publish it as its entirety as a blog post. That means it's discoverable by not only by the search engines, but also by the AI engines as well too. So the likes of ChatGPT and Perplexity and Claude, where they get their information from, they are trained on all the other content that's out there on websites that are out there. So if you're publishing content and you're starting to get it ranked in the search engines for the topic, then AI tools are also going to pick it up and provide links and recommendations when people are starting to create content as well. So those are some of the benefits. And this is what actually brings clients into you. So newsletters are not only for sending out to people that are on your list, it's also to bring people to you. And with your newsletter page, make sure you've got some way of capturing their email address so that you're starting to pick up new subscribers onto your into your CRM on your email list. So you don't want to rely on people remembering your site and keeping on coming back to it. So what we talked about, the real challenge is, a lot of us have said we don't have time to create a newsletter. We don't have the energy or the motivation to do it week after week or month after month. And consistency, which is the key thing, is the biggest hurdle as well. So if you are going to publish a newsletter and you've got a monthly newsletter, you need to stick to it religiously every single month, ideally, and publishing it on that, ideally the same day every month. I know, Gail, your newsletter, you're pretty consistent with that, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I have a cheat trick that I originally set the newsletter up myself, but now I get somebody to do it for me every fortnight. It only costs me $60, and that because it's just a short newsletter, but
Yeah.
it works really well. Yeah, and I follow
Fabulous.
your advice, and I use that same newsletter now on LinkedIn.
Excellent. So it's exactly the same. You just repurposed it.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you publishing it on your blog as well?
No.
I've just added another task to your list.
Yes.
So easy to do. So that consistency is really key. So when you say you do it, you just do it at the same time every single, or as in Gail's case, fortnight, every month, every week, but keep that consistency up. And yes, you can use other people to do it, and it is quite inexpensive to do it. If you've got a VA as well, they can do it. And you can start to use some AI and CRM tools to help you do it, which I'll talk about too. Now, what's important with your newsletter is if you can address people's underlying issues and pains and challenges that they haven't necessarily been able to articulate or talk about, but you're able to talk about it in your publications, you'll get their attention. And so we're not talking about the surface level things where sort of, let's say if we bring Tim's example where people are tired, but you're talking about how, say, lack of sleep affects their productivity at work, for instance, or the productivity of their employees. Now you're getting into a deeper level there. And then if you go down another level deeper and so find out how does that make them feel, and then now you're dealing with the emotional state. Once you start to deal with people's emotions and how they feel on the impact of what's happening to them or what they're doing, and you can help them to solve that or give them some insights into it, now you've got something that people will read. So really sort of think of drilling down into what's their emotional state below their emotions. So emotions come in clusters. So like the emotion of anger, for instance, is not one emotion. It is an emotion of anger, grief, frustration, disappointment. So it's all clustered in there. But if you can drill right down to some of the root causes of what people feel, then that's where you start to really make some inroads and some impact. And some of you heard me say this before. If people read or listen to what you are publishing and they say, that's me, or that sounds like me, or that's exactly right, where I'm at, or that's how I feel, that's when you've really sort of tapped into their innermost desires, and that's when they'll approach you rather than you having to approach them. Think about what are the questions they're asking about, but they're not finding the answers to. So what they're curious about. At the moment, the AI world is a big one for me. People understand that there is this thing called AI out there. They don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to use it. So for me, if I can help them with how do you actually use AI on a practical level? Now we've got something that they're interested in reading, particularly if they can apply it to everyday life. Desires, focus on what they really want to achieve. So you've got two ends of things. You've got pain and gain. What do people really desire, and what are they trying to move away from? What are the issues and problems they're trying to move away from? They're two things to engage with. And interests. What are the topics that generally fascinate and engage them? So and there's all sorts of things you can include in that. So, and I'll give you some examples of that as well. So, but the key thing to remember is that you want to focus on publishing things that people want to read, not that you want to write about. Big distinction. So put yourself in their shoes in terms of what they want to read. So you might be passionate about what you do and want to write about it and want to publish it, but if no one's going to read it, what's the point? So think about it from their perspective. And the best way to do that is just to ask them. You'd have conversations with your clients and prospects to find out what they're interested in. Okay, this one here. All right, so I'm going to give you some ideas about what you can think about publishing in a newsletter. Now, you can use a tool like ChatGPT or Claude or any one of those tools to help you to come up with some of these ideas. So think about so you can think about the structure of your newsletter. What's the core thing that you're going to talk about? So every newsletter is probably going to have some form of introduction. So if you think about you're going to publish this on a week-to-week basis or a month-to-month basis, you're probably going to have an introduction, but you can have some things in there that are newsworthy. You can have some interesting articles that you've found. So you don't actually have to write the content. You can actually find articles that other people have written. I'll give you an example of a newsletter that we used to publish before AI was around, and it took me no time a week to do. It took Lorena, who is on the call at the moment, it used to take her about 20 minutes a week to do it. What we did was subscribe to publications that I knew that my clients were interested in. And I was interested in it as well too, and it was to do with the online marketing space. I was subscribed to those, and we used a tool called Feedly. Actually, I'll show you this tool because if you haven't seen it before, it is a helpful tool. Feedly, it's called feedly.com. And what you can do with it is you can subscribe to the things that potential sources for your newsletter in Feedly. So you can select topics you're interested in, and you can select specific blogs and publications you're interested in. And you can see here that this is in the topic of business and news. These here are posts that have been published on other people's publications. So for this news, it used to take us 20 minutes a week. What we used to do was we would find 5 articles here that we thought would be of interest to our clients and ones that are of interest to me. We copied this description of it. We copied the title and we grabbed the image and put it in as a blog post, a hidden blog post on the website. That was all. Didn't have the full article. It was just that. We did that 5 times. And so we had 5 articles and and this is a WordPress website that we're operating from. Had a particular plugin into the website that every week it would collate every one of those posts there that we put in, which are these snippets, collate it into a newsletter and used to send it out automatically to everybody on our email list. So I didn't write any of that content. It was just content that was curated and put into a newsletter. So it is possible to have a curated newsletter where you don't have to write it, when you use a service like this. So I don't think you've got to do all of the work. So interesting articles, points of view. So I talked about that, publish your point of view as well. People are interested in it. help to get some discussion going and really tweak people's interest in terms of, and help them to question themselves. Interactive elements, readers' questions. So you'll notice sometimes I'll ask people for, what are the apps and tools that they're using. Ask them for feedback and content as well. That'll help you with content as well, particularly people asking you questions. Case studies, clients that you work with, they create content as well. So they are classic. That's just like me content. So case studies, if you talk about what you obviously depersonalizing it, so people can't identify who it is necessarily, depending on what sort of industry you're in. But you talk about where people were, what happened with them when they worked with you, and where they ended up. So the results there. That's great content. Testimonials can be behind the scenes content. That's really good as well too. People are fascinated by what happens in your workplace. All the stuff that you find is mundane, boring, and who would be interested in this? They are fascinated by it. The best bar that I go to is one down in Burleigh. It's called Tap That Keg House and Brewery. When you walk in there, they have on the side there, they have all the brewing tanks there. So you walk in to where the brewing area is, and they have a bench set up where you can lean against to have a conversation. Nothing flash about the place, but this is a behind the scenes sort of thing. And so what that encourages people to do is say, well, how do you make this beer? So people are fascinated by all the behind the scenes stuff. So show them that and tell them that. So your B-rolls, if you're into video, your B-rolls, that's what they want to see. Your bloopers, your muck-ups, all that sort of stuff. I think about value-added content. So they can be, for me, it's helpful apps and tools and book reviews and podcast episodes you've listened to. That's really good. If you can give people recommendations on other resources and tools they can go to, that is value-added content, because what you're doing is you're curating it so you become the go-to person for additional content. And then you've got sort of engagement features. So, having guest contributors. So we talked about having your strategic partners in there as well too. So their engagement features, having just simple stuff like jokes, demos. So if you've got demos of things that you do as well, or processes or frameworks, those sort of things work well. And having invitations to events and things that you're going to or that you're putting on. So including all of that in there. But the key thing with this is to think about what's a format that you can use consistently that people will become familiar with. So your format might be your intro, interesting article, your point of view, readers' questions, case study, and some form of a demo or business invitation. But if you stick to that format, it's going to make it easy for you to create that newsletter as well. And people know what to expect. All right, we've talked about the various publishing platforms, so email and CRM, LinkedIn, Substack, Medium, YouTube as well too. So think about with your newsletters, YouTube's another good avenue to deliver your newsletter. So you can either do something like be the newsreader that reads your newsletter. So you can do that. There are AI tools available now, like HeyGen, for instance, and you can just put your newsletter in there and it will read it for you, where you don't even have to be the face. You can publish it up onto YouTube like that. And I should say there are also news apps out there or reading apps that people have got access to on their phones. Make sure that they are accessible and able to be used for those as well too. But YouTube's a great source, particularly if you're able to give how-to content. YouTube is the biggest how-to search engine that we have available to us. The most commonly searched thing is how to do things. So if you've got a how-to section in your newsletter, publish it on YouTube. But you can also use it for things like short reels, shorts, those on social media as well. But here's a good tip for you as well too. With your content in your newsletters, and this is where you can use, say, ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude or one of those large language models, get it to then put your newsletter in there and ask it to take out snippets that you can use for social media. So you may have a snippet from your newsletter that you post on, say, LinkedIn, and then in the comments there you have a link to the full newsletter article, which is on your blog, on your website, or to subscribe to the rest of it. You can also use those for images as well. You can also use it for video content, like those little reels as well. So your newsletter is not just the newsletter you send out once. You're looking at how else can I repurpose this as well. Another strategy with it too is if you have published, let's say, a fortnightly newsletter, at the end of the year, you've got 26 newsletters. If you've got a regular format that you follow, so let's say you have let's say your point of view. So let's say there's a section there for your point of view. You've got 26 of those, which now can become an ebook at the end of the year. So you can start to extract content out of your newsletter to use things for ebooks, for white papers, for if you're strategic about it, you can start to create programs and courses from it as well too. So if, for instance, you cover a topic every month or every fortnight, and the next fortnight's topic follows on from the previous one. So let's say you've got let's say you've got a 12-step process, for instance, and they've got 12 newsletters. You've got one step of the process for every publication. At the end of it, you've now written enough content there to now create a mini course, a program, a lead magnet, a white paper, any number of things. And so you're not having to rewrite it. You can just repurpose it into other ways of doing your marketing. Remember to include a call to action or calls to action in your newsletter as well. Now, call to action doesn't necessarily mean you're sending them to your website to buy something or to book a call, but it could be that. Call to action could be for them to implement something specific from what they've just read. So, for instance, if I was publishing something on ChatGPT, I might have published a prompt that they could use. The call to action will be go and try this prompt in ChatGPT and see what sort of outcome is for you. So you're trying to engage people to take action from your newsletter, not just read it. Another action could be to comment or share, or to leave you their thoughts. So particularly on LinkedIn, for instance, if you've got your LinkedIn newsletter, you've got an opportunity for people to comment. So ask them for the comment. So if you don't ask, sometimes often they won't do what you don't ask. So if you want them to do something, just ask them in there. So your call to action is just asking them to take the next step or to make a comment. So they're your personal improvement calls to action, and then your direct business call to actions are things like booking a consultation, purchasing a product. They might be registering for an event that you've got or enrolling in a program that you're running. So every newsletter should have some form of call to action, whether it's a personal or direct. And repurposing, which is what we spoke about as well too, is that think about how many other ways that you can repurpose the content in your newsletter, or think about the other way. If you can construct your newsletter from content you've already created in other places. So if, for instance, you have written blog posts on particular topics, you can bring those into your newsletter. If you've recorded videos, particularly live videos on, say, social media, make sure you capture those live videos, because what you can do with those videos is you can get the transcript from it. So if the videos are on YouTube, you can get the transcript on YouTube. If you're not familiar with that, let me just show you quickly where that is. This one here. Some of you will know where this is, but YouTube automatically does transcripts. So you can upload your video. If you don't want it public, you can make it unlisted. Let's find a video. Here's one here. So if you open up the video, I'm going to stop it playing. Okay. And if you go into the description area below, and there is a button here that says show transcript. So if you click that button that says show transcript on the right-hand side, you'll get a full transcript of this video. So YouTube will give that to you. You can copy that transcript and you can drop that into ChatGPT. Let's wait for that. Why was I asking you to do that? There was a point that I was going to make around that. Anyone remember? Oh, sorry. Yes, that was what it was. A great way to create content is, if you've done a live video, you can drop the transcript into, say, Perplexity or ChatGPT, ask it to create a, let's say, 600 words or 800 words solely from the content in the video, and it's not allowed to go out and use any sources externally other than the source you've provided in the transcript. And so what you can then get it to do is it will then start to generate a content piece for your newsletter from something that you've recorded by video. So video is my favorite because it's in your voice. All that ChatGPT then is doing is really editing it into something that is easy to read, because we speak differently to how we write. And I'd use that as a starting point so that you can then edit what comes out of that. So it's in your voice and it's content there that you can then put into your newsletter. So videos are a really good source of creating content for your newsletter if you've already done those videos. Things like if you've done webinars or podcasts have often got good content in it for a newsletter. So if you're a guest on someone else's podcast, and then of course you've got things like lead magnets, brochures, PDFs, all those sort of things that you've already got. Or you can go the other way, where the content you've created in the newsletter, you can then turn into that content. So what's next? Anyone here think that they will try their hand at a newsletter? Yep, great. Really recommend it. It is a really good marketing strategy just to position yourself as a credible authority and also as a lead generation tool. My recommendation would be create your newsletter and publish it on as many platforms as you can. So don't just publish it by email. So you want email, blog post, LinkedIn at the very minimum. If you can get onto Substack, Beehive, and or Medium, then also publish on one of those platforms as well, because you'll reach an audience that you're not currently reaching at the moment. So if you are interested in creating and publishing a newsletter, the platform that I use, and I know that some of you are on the platform as well, is the iConnection Go High Level platform. They have an excellent newsletter publishing facility in this platform. You can automate it, and you can create a template in there which has got the particular flow and format that you want, and you can either just fill out the template with the content you want, so cut and paste and put it in there, but there is also a way where you can dynamically create your newsletter without actually having to touch the template as well. So you can also create dynamic fields in it as well. So for things like, let's say for instance, someone is interested in meat pies and someone else is a vegetarian and doesn't like meat at all, you can create exactly the same newsletter that's got dynamic content in it, that in the bit there that's talking about pies, it will put in meat pie information for the meat eaters. It will put vegetarian pie information in for the vegetarians. So you can actually personalize your newsletter so you have same structure, but different content can go on it depending on who your clients actually are and what their interests are as well. So I can really hyper personalize it in this platform. Now, obviously, you can't go and just publish that on blog because it's different content, but you can use it as the basis of what you're putting into your blog post and into your say LinkedIn newsletter as well too. So this Thursday I am running a workshop or a masterclass on how to create a newsletter. So we're specifically going to use some of the AI tools that we use. Going to be using the iConnection platform, or the Go High Level platform, to do that. And the reason for that is there's some processes in there that I'm going to demonstrate and show you how to use. If you are on Go High Level or iConnection, then you'll be able to use that immediately to start to craft your own newsletter in there. I'm going to show you some workflows, how you can automate your newsletter. So I'm going to show you a process where you can get your newsletter done this month and have it scheduled for the rest of the year. And you don't even need all the content to do that. So you can actually get the basis of it all done right now, and then you don't have to worry about the bulk of it for the rest of the year. Some elements that you do need to put in sort of during the year, but it really does change how you do these things. So if you're interested in finding out a wee bit more about that, QR code, scan that. It is free, so it's an hour-and-a-half workshop on Thursday. It's free. I will record it, so if you do want the recording of it as well too, make sure you register for it as well, and then I'll know to get the recording of it out to you as well. If you do not have a iConnection subscription, then I will give you a 4-week trial of that there, so you can jump into there and you can start using that newsletter function. So you can try it out and see how it works for yourself, send out the newsletter, or construct it and send it, and then you've got a good feel as to how this tool is going to sort of work for you as well too. You don't have to use this tool. There are a range of other tools, but this is what I'm going to be talking about because it's a way of actually bringing into practice some of the things I've spoken about tonight, and some of the things I'll talk about on Thursday. All right, any questions, comments? Is it feasible? Or any sort of questions into chat?
Nick, it's Con here. Have you ever done any ROI into your conversion from newsletter to website to customer?
I haven't really sort of tracked that through sort of that specifically.
Yeah.
I just know from anecdotal evidence. I do ask people where they've heard from me, and the most common comment that I get, well, there's 2 places that people generally know me from. This webinar here, because they see this all over the web, and the newsletter. It's like you keep appearing in my inbox is the most common thing, and I just have to find out what you do, or I actually need to do something I didn't know who to turn to. You're someone that I that keeps on popping up my inbox. So that's really how this works. How do you create a LinkedIn newsletter?
You took the words right out of my mouth.
So look, LinkedIn has got a feature in it called newsletter. And it's very easy to go and create it. If you just Google how to create a newsletter on LinkedIn, or go to ChatGPT and ask how to create a newsletter on LinkedIn, it'll give you step-by-step instructions for it, and you can create it. So the good thing about LinkedIn is that when you set up your newsletter, you don't have to publish one, but you can set up the newsletter. It will then let all of your contacts know in LinkedIn that you are publishing a newsletter, and they'll be given the invitation to subscribe. So recommendation with that one is if someone subscribes to your newsletter, send them a message on LinkedIn, say thanks for subscribing, and you can even ask them, is there anything specific that you want me to include in it? Is there anything you'd add on to that, Con?
So I'm off. Yeah, it is. No, it's exactly right, Nick. I was just looking to see how we can quickly show you, but it's okay. It's a bit complicated. The beauty is that newsletters were originally just available to company pages. Now they're available to individuals too. So some people may not be aware of that, but it's available to individuals to have newsletters as well at the moment. It's very simple to create. Like Nick said, just Google it. It's very easy to find where it is.
Thank you. Like, that's great.
Yeah, I might on Thursday. I'll have a look and if I'll follow the process and I'll show you how to do it on Thursday.
I'll just tell you quickly. I just found it. If you go to your
do you want to
go to your just go to LinkedIn, the little box on top, click on the right. We click on right. So that little right little icon. Just can I share the screen, Nick?
Oh yeah, you go ahead and do that. Let me just
share the screen. Yep.
Yep.
Sorry, I might just share my screen. There it is.
Right.
There.
Go ahead.
Okay, share. So you just go to right here, right article. Oh, you can see that? No?
Yep.
You see here, manage, create newsletter. You click on that, and then you start. That's it. You give your user details, how often, description, put your logo, your image. Bob's your uncle. Done.
Oh,
and then once you do that,
thank you, Con.
Once you do that, you can start typing in here, or copying and paste, or use your friendly AI generator to start copying and pasting some content.
Excellent. Thanks for the impromptu workshop. That's great. Thanks, Con. All right. Any other questions that we've got there? Excellent, David. You have got 15 published podcasts, which means that you now have a year's worth of newsletters. You just have to add a little bit more around it with all those transcriptions.
Yeah, so you're basically going to transcribe them, isn't it? Is that
Well, you
right?
transcribe them, and then you're writing the content from that. So you're not just posting the transcriptions, but
No.
you'll write your content from those transcriptions.
Yeah, because obviously we have a subscript. Well, we have the notes and different things that you have part of it, which is
Yeah.
generated, the chapters, so there's a certain amount that already is captured already as well.
Yes, and then with your newsletter, your call to action could be to go and subscribe to your podcast to get the podcast episode that this is written on.
Yep, true. And then I've noticed
Yeah.
Riverside now has just come out with clips.
Oh yeah, oh yes, they have too. Yes, they
Yeah.
have.
So we can go in there and clip it, and then I think, yeah,
Yep,
top it up. Yep.
perfect. Oh well, no excuses. I look forward to your newsletter now, David.
Absolutely, there's no excuses now, is there?
No, that's right. All right. What permissions do you need to use other people's content? Yep, good question. Attribution is the important thing. So if you are using content from other people's websites, make sure you attribute it to them. But I also would have a link that goes to their content as well too. So the newsletter just goes straight through to it. So I'm not necessarily interested in whether people are reading it or know that I'll publish it. They can click straight through. And in fact, the newsletter that I published, that was none of my content at all, it was just those snippets. People often wouldn't open the newsletters. Sometimes they would, but the open rate was maybe 15%, which is quite a good open rate. If you get 5%, that's a good open rate. But the purpose of the newsletter is not that people read it. It's a bonus if they do, but that they see your name regularly in their inbox. So you want to make sure that you're top of mind for them all the time. So they may not need what you offer right now, but in the future, when they do need it, that's when they come through to you and say, you just kept on popping up in my inbox. I need some help. I didn't know who to turn to, but I do know you. That's part of the purpose of your newsletter. All right. Any other questions? Fabulous. Excellent. All right. No other questions at all? That is our session for tonight. Now, we do have a door prize tonight, so we better draw that. That door prize is, apart from the session that we've got on Thursday, if you want some help using ChatGPT, we have a full program on ChatGPT on helping you to create your content. So there's two things with the door prize. One is you get access to that. Second thing is I will spend 45 minutes with you helping to craft out your structure for your newsletter. And we will do that using some of the AI tools. So I'll show you exactly some of the prompts that I use and how you can use it for yourself as well. So you get your structure out so that, you know, you've now got a process to use. So if you've already got access to the AI program already because you've done it, just tell me and we'll find something else for you. If you haven't, then you'll get that and also that 45 minutes to craft out your newsletter. All right, we've got everybody's name in our wheel of names. So don't disappear yet. Otherwise, we'll have to redraw it. So let's spin the wheel and see how lucky winner is. And around it goes. And our lucky winner is Jacqueline Price. Are you still here, Jacqueline?
Absolutely. I'm still here. Thank you, Nick.
Fabulous. Excellent. All right. Well, we'll be in touch. My team will be in touch tomorrow and we can just sort out a time there where we can have a chat and organise that AI program for you as well too. ChatGPT
Thank
program.
you.
Fabulous. All right. Well, next week's topic is, anyone here do any tendering with the government at all? Anyone should put any tenders in? Okay, so next week we've got someone who is going to be talking about tendering. Now, you might think as a small business that you've got nothing there where you don't know how to do it or nothing in there to tender. One big thing is happening in decade. The Olympic Games is coming to Australia. And the government, and that's local government, federal government, are looking for lots of industries to facilitate and serve at the game. So it could be anything from putting down flooring for the competition arenas, through to florists, through to consultants, through to people who are involved in marketing, copywriting, through to publishing, through to health as well. So probably the industry that you're in, there is probably some area there that you could win a tender for in business. So this is focused specifically on small businesses, not big businesses, to get them into the framework of being tender ready and understanding how to put in a tender when they're called for. Most of the work is done before they even call for tenders, so you're just making yourself ready for it. So if you're interested in getting work like that, it is really good work. It is lucrative work because the government always pays. Sometimes they might be slow, but they always pay, but they actually need what you're offering as well too. So well worth coming to that session. The guy that's speaking, his name's Rob Matchin, and he was around with the Commonwealth Games, the Olympic Games in Sydney when they're doing the tenders, and he's won literally billions of dollars worth of tenders. But he's specifically working with small businesses on this. So if you know anyone that will be interested in this, next week is going to be just one of those sessions that we've never had before that I think is going to be valuable for a lot of us. All right, well, that's our session for tonight. Save the chat. 3 little dots on the top right-hand side to save it. All the apps and tools are in there. Connect with each other on LinkedIn and wherever they have put their links in if you are interested. Otherwise, we will see you next week. Have a good evening. Thank you for tuning in and listening to the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast. You can also find me on social media and online. Just search for Business Owners Smashing It Online and Nick Cree, spelled Nikree, all one word. If you like this and want to hear more, subscribe now. Until next time, don't be a slave to your business. Get your business working for you.